Hey, Nathaniel. Hope you're doing okay.
Doing
Um,
good.
I wanted to ask you quick about Josiah DeGuara. When you look at his film, what excites you the most about his potential and what his upside could be when you look at Matt's offense?
I think it's versatility. I think that's one of the things that you always want in an offense. And I think a guy like him is, he just lines up in a lot of different places, lines up on the line, off the ball, has the athleticism to move all over the place and insert himself throughout the front line. So I think it's just one of those things that it allows us to do some unique things in the run, play, pass world, and also the ability to catch the ball. I think all those things are exciting things.
Hi, Nathaniel. First off, amazing hoodie, by the way, with the Baby Yoda. That's pretty awesome.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm glad we get to show that on TV. I was going to ask you about the rookies this year. Obviously, with the crazy offseason, how much of a challenge do you think it will be, A, to get the rookies up to speed in your system, and then B, to evaluate what they're ready for if all you get is a little bit of training camp on the field?
I obviously I think with the situation, I think nobody knows how the situation is going to be because it's still there's so many question marks. I think anytime that you lose time to be able to work with any players, I think you always kind of in the back of your mind as a coach get a little anxiety because you always want to work with the guys as much as possible. That's the fun thing about being a coach. But I think everybody's kind of in the same situation, so. We just got to kind of take it one day at a time. And when we get our opportunities, we need to introduce them to as much information as possible and see who can have that information stick the fastest. I think that's going to be the biggest one. And just go from there and find out how many people that can help us during this next upcoming season.
Hey, Nathaniel, how you doing?
Good. Thank you.
How's that quarterback room going? Obviously, you have a couple new guys in there, but specifically how Jordan and Aaron are interacting, I guess, and what are your expectations for a 21-year-old quarterback, not only this offseason but this coming season?
Everything's been good. I mean, it's kind of business as usual. I mean, everybody obviously is being great pros. And I think from Jordan's standpoint, being a young quarterback, I think for him it's being a sponge. I think he's got a great opportunity right now to learn from one of the greatest to ever play the game, and I think the more that he can learn from him, the more that he can dive into the system. Obviously, the transition from college to the NFL is so different for a young player. So I think that the more he can learn from the system and make it become his own and make it become something that he can thrive in. So I think it's just so important to just learn and just learn the language and learn the different protection schemes, the pass concepts, and I think that's going to be a huge thing for Jordan.
Hi, Nathaniel. Hope you're well. I don't know what your pre-draft responsibilities were, but I'm curious how much you studied Jordan before the draft. And specifically, were there anybody in his life, his football journey, that you spoke with to get kind of know him a little bit better?
But besides kind of the interaction with him in the process, that was kind of the amount that we did there. But obviously, with the situation being kind of on lockdown, got to watch tape on him and view him. But it was kind of a unique draft experience for I think everybody. But definitely saw there's some great intangibles there for him, and happy to have him on our team.
I was just wondering, Aaron was telling us last week about how you kind of use your sense of humor some in the Zoom sessions that y'all have had. I'm just wondering, what are some of the unique things y'all have kind of done to try to build a bond as an offense while y'all are separated? I don't know if there are any activities you've done either through Zoom or anything else to kind of develop that chemistry when you're scattered across the country.
Yeah, I think it's been a unique challenge, I think, because as coaches, you always want to try to find some kind of an advantage. You want to find something to inspire. And when you're all of a sudden put in a situation where you're not allowed to leave your house and they say, okay, use Zoom or use this or use that, it's you have to try to be as creative as possible, and you have to keep the guys entertained and interested in what the content that you're delivering to them. So we've kind of tried to branch out as much as possible. Got a really good friend that's in the education world, kind of dived into finding out from, just high school teachers, just, hey, how do you teach? How are you going to do this? And actually going through a lot of this stuff with my children, my wife has been teaching them and kind of seeing their process because, in the end, we're all teachers. And just trying to dive into those different, areas and trying to be as creative as possible, from videos to different programs, to be able to get the guys excited and be interested in what we're trying to send to them. So we've had videos that we send out to them. We've had interactive testing. We've had all kinds of different things. Just to, like you said, it's trying to make it as fun as possible in this very unique environment.
Hello, Nathaniel. Thank you for the time. How involved, if at all, were you in the recruitment or the signing of Devin Funchess, and what do you feel like he brings to the offense maybe that you didn't have before?
Right now, I think with our situation, kind of everybody's been secluded, but very excited to have Funchess on our team, and very excited to get to know him and see what he can bring. Right now, it's kind of hard to say. He's been in the league for a lot of years. I've known of him and seen him, but I think until I get the opportunity to truly meet him, I mean, I haven't even gotten to meet him yet due to the situation. So I think that's it's just kind of as we move forward, once we all get together, I think that's where we're going to be able to find out kind of where he's going to fit. But excited to have him here.
How you doing, Coach?
Good, and yourself?
Excellent, thanks. I'm guessing you've maybe seen the potential replacement for the onside kick going to sort of a fourth and 15. I'm wondering, just on a typical week, what is your 4th and 15 menu, and will there be a little bit more homework on? I mean, obviously, it's not a favorable play. You probably don't want to have a lot of those on your menu, but you might have to maybe some more work on that.
I'm not going to lie to you. On our game sheet, we really don't have that 4th and 15 section right now. But it's something that, with the changes that are coming about, it might be something we might have to throw in there and investigate and look at. It's a very unique situation because it's that is a long down a distance, and even a 3rd and 11 plus is not the highest percentage across the league on a conversion rate. So it'll definitely be interesting to see what we think is, what we think we can do, and if we can dial up some fun, creative things.
Hey, Nathaniel, at the end of last year and then a little bit in the combine, Matt, and I think you talked about play call language and tempo and examining that on how to communicate it faster. And I think Aaron told us the language itself hasn't shortened, but maybe the way it's communicated to him. Like it's a number, for instance, and he can read it off a sheet. So how did you and Matt and Luke kind of workshop that during this off season and determine that maybe was the best way to go about it in terms of, speeding things up and allowing him to run tempo?
I think kind of the starting point is always understanding the entire language first. And I think this first year we really dived into, every intricate word that was within a play call. And I think that as you understand those words and what all those different things mean, you can now start shortening things down or making a one word to mean more than one things. So I think as we've kind of dived into this off season in our discussions, it's okay, how can we call this very extensive long play something just a little bit more simple, maybe just a one word that Aaron can use to then communicate to the guys and potentially speed up, all the processes up. So that's been something that we've kind of dived into. There are some things that'll still be always a little bit longer, but we're always looking, especially now that everybody understands the system a lot more, the ability to shorten the verbiage.
Yeah, Coach, hope all is well. Was wondering what your thoughts or hopes and expectations are for Jace Sternberger in his second season, aside from staying healthy, and what you think he can bring to your offense.
Obviously, you hit it right there. I think starting off being healthy is going to be critical. That was one thing we were very lucky with throughout that entire season. And then getting Jace back towards the end was great. With Jace, I think it's just being consistent and understanding the system, understanding his role, where he fits, so that he can get out on the field and understand what he needs to do to get his job done. Because he has an element of speed that is very impressive. He's got fearlessness. He's very aggressive. So he has a lot of intangibles, and I think just being able to be consistent, both being available and understanding what he needs to accomplish on the field is going to be huge. And if he gets that, I think, he's going to be a guy that potentially can help us.
Rob Domofsky, go ahead.
Hey, Nathaniel. The challenge for a coach, obviously, is trying to get that weekly game plan and prepared to win that game. But how do you do that and also balance the long term of trying to get Jordan Love ready to play eventually, whether it's 1, 2, 3 years down the line?
I think that the coach's world, I think, is always game by game. I mean, every single thing that we look at, we are always looking to try to accomplish that win each week. I mean, that's the only thing that matters to us. The future is obviously something I think that might be in the back of our mind, but we always live in the moment because that's usually how we're all judged. But I think that at the same time that anything can happen at any moment in a game. That's what makes the game so much fun. So I think that you have to prepare everybody like they're a starter and they got to go in there and play. So I think it's about winning. It's about, Aaron Rodgers going out there and winning a football game. And then Jordan's going to just have to continually learn and continue to be a good sponge and get as much information through the system and the game plan that's set for Aaron to be able to, who knows if he's got to go in one time or if Tim Boyle's got to go in. I mean, Jalen, there's so many different people. I mean, everybody's got to be ready to participate at any time. So, but for us, it's about winning that week. I mean, I think that's the most important thing is winning each game 1 week at a time, and then and just get everybody ready to play. It's kind of what we do all the time.
Nathaniel, when you watched the tape of Jordan Love at Utah State, what stood out the most?
I'll tell you, he was a pretty impressive athlete, and his ability to move in the pocket and get on the move and make some dynamic throws were things that were really exciting. And then, just the limited opportunities I've been able to spend with him, he seems like a really great guy, but, it's going to be exciting to finally actually meet him a little bit better in person, because right now I haven't gotten to spend too much time with him, but there's a lot of good stuff. There's some good talent on tape for sure.
Aaron Nagler, go ahead.
Hey, Coach. Wondering, you look at Jordan Love, you're talking about how he's got to be a sponge and be ready to come in at a moment's notice. Do you foresee the possibility of utilizing that physicality and that skill set that you talked about, like a package for Jordan Love his rookie year?
I think everything's still so early to tell. I mean, it's still, haven't even really got to sit in a meeting room at Lambeau, or any of those. I mean, I haven't got to talk with him much and work, face to face. I mean, so I think there's just so much yet to be seen. And you never know. Anything can happen. But I think, we just got to prepare everybody and let everybody compete, nonstop. And so I think it's just too hard to tell with this situation right now.
Coach, the selection of AJ and the potential of a power running game, how does that, if at all, change your offensive identity or philosophy?
Oh, I don't think you ever really change that. I think you put yourself in the position to maneuver and use all the players that you have on your team. And, as coaches, our job is to find out what all the guys do best and try to put them in those positions. So I think, our philosophy is always going to be the same. We always want it to be a balance. We always want a marrying between the run game and the play pass and the play actions. And so I think that it's always going to be, that's always what our philosophy is going to be. It's, where he fits in, we'll find out. Excited to meet him too.
Hey, Nathaniel, hope you're doing well.
Appreciate it. You too.
Nice hoodie, by the way. That's sweet.
Appreciate it.
Kind of continuing with A.J. Dillon, what do you think you have in him, and does he play, quote-unquote, smaller than a 250-pound back?
It's hard to say that he plays smaller than a 250-pound back. He's obviously a very, very big man. I'm excited to have him on the team. I mean, that's a really, really exciting room right now. I mean, you've got Aaron and Jamal, you got Swerve, you've got a lot of different people there, and it's going to be interesting to see, how we utilize all those things. And I'm excited to kind of think about that a whole bunch and get to know them. But it's exciting to have them on the team.
Nathaniel, it's great to see you, albeit virtually. We were talking late last season already about this, and then Matt and Goody and Aaron all talked about it earlier in the offseason before COVID-19, how excited you guys were about year 2 of the system. I'm wondering in what ways have you been challenged to advance your offense in year two? And then also, and they touched on it a little bit with A.J. Dillon, do you think we'll see something closer to what you guys envisioned coming in offensively as opposed to kind of the combination of what the guys were comfortable with coming from the previous system to what you guys really wanted to do?
Okay, well, let's start with the first part. Obviously we're very excited going into year two always. I think when, having especially a quarterback that has been in the same system for a long time, learning something new, I think that being more comfortable in a system is huge. And just being able to communicate and talk and adjust and maneuver and make it our system, not one system or the other. So I think that has been really fun to do last year and even more this year because the conversations are so much different. I mean, now we all know each other. So knowing each other and working together is a lot different than first time. Hi, I'm Nathaniel, and hey, this is Aaron and Matt, and just kind of thrown in a room and trying to get it to work. So I think that just going through a season together, you always can advance your just your system in general. Like I said with AJ and all the new guys that we have. I think that this is such a unique situation with this COVID situation. It's so hard to tell, what we're going to look like as we move into the season. I mean, every year is so unique. We were so lucky to be healthy last year and really want that to happen again this coming year. So I think every game it changes a little bit. You want to be fluid enough in your system to be able to do different things. This offseason, because we've been all in our house, we've been able to look at a lot of different things and see if there's things we want to implement or look at things that we did that we probably shouldn't do as much. So I think that just every single thing we're doing now is making it so that we can be a more quality offense, a more explosive offense. And I think that's what we're always hunting. And I think with this situation where we're going to be, when we have the opportunity to get on the field, I mean, who knows? I mean, I'm just excited to teach the system to the guys, and then even more excited to hopefully get to meet them all soon and be in the same room as them one day, if that happens.
Hi, Coach. I hope you're staying safe. Recently, Coach LaFleur said that the virtual meetings was a great chance for coaches to do some self-evaluation. Since you guys have been doing the meetings, in what ways have you grown and developed as a coach?
I'll tell you, I give so much credit to teachers in our country because, they have to educate our youth and, the stuff that they've had to do and do these, just whether it be the videos or the Zooms. And I mean, it's you take a whole different appreciation for what they do just on an every day. But then all of a sudden you start putting yourself in front of a webcam, like even right now, I'm staring at myself right now as I talk to everybody. And I think it lets you have a lot of self-evaluation because you get to hear yourself talk. You get to see what you look like. Typically you just get up and you're just going, and whether you mess up or whether, just kind of how you speak is you never really get a chance to evaluate yourself. And I think now when you have to record a video and then you have to play it back and continually hear yourself over and over, you're like, man, I really don't sound good, or I could do better. And so I think it's helped a lot of guys, me, myself, all the different coaches, just being able to see what it looks like when they're up there. And it's been awesome watching a lot of the things that we've filmed, a lot of the things that the guys have put together, watching how creative they've been, and watching them get better and better with every video, with every Zoom meeting, because it's just so different when you have to listen to yourself over and over again and try to make a perfect edit. But it's definitely been good.
Yeah, Nathaniel, I mean, obviously you're bringing in Devin, but of course Ryan didn't draft a receiver. Do you need more from the group behind Devontae for your offense to be what you want it to be? And when you look at the group as a whole, obviously a lot of young guys, what do you think the position is capable of as they continue to grow?
I think you always want more from everybody. I mean, every single position, we want more. We want more from the coaches. We want more from Aaron. We want more from Corey, from David, from the wide receivers. I mean, as coaches, we're always striving to have everybody compete and become better. I think that the wide receivers, there were some things that they did last year that were awesome. And there's always something that you think you can get better at. I think their understanding of the system, understanding what we're asking of them is going to help them develop. and they are a young group. And I think that's about them in that room with Coach Vrabel. All those guys getting in there and rallying together and playing good enough to get us even farther than what we did last year. I think it's just everybody's just got to come together and own the system even more. And they did a good job, and they got better each week, and just got to keep that going.
I'm wondering just how big of an advantage this is for you, because if you look at the offense, you're replacing the right tackle, and he's played a million games. You lost Jimmy, but you've got tight ends. You're not starting from scratch really any place.
I mean, that's a great point. I mean, we were talking about that when this whole thing started getting locked down, and obviously the coaches, everybody wants to coach, everybody wants to work, everybody wants to teach. But then it is nice to sit there and think, wow, we could be like, what if this would have happened last year? I mean, gosh, a staff just getting together for the first time. I mean, it's so much different just as coaches, even being able to converse over Zoom, phone, all that stuff, just being together for a year. And then you add in that, a lot of the guys are back. I mean, that is definitely a big positive as you look at all the different things that are going on throughout this country. And we're very lucky to be in that situation, and we hope that that's going to help us and we can still grow, and the guys can still learn, and the communication is going to be the same, and we all know each other. I think that's always such a huge deal in football, is being able to know each other and trust each other. I mean, that's huge out on the football field. Those guys trusting the coaches trusting them, and we're lucky that we all know each other very well, and that is definitely a benefit.
Coach, piggybacking a little bit on Wes's initial question about Josiah, is there anybody's role from last year that you see him filling, or do you feel like you guys are going to maybe create more of a role for Josiah that we haven't seen before?
I think it's one of those things we kind of got to see, once we get into just getting back together and seeing what fits what we want to do. And I think that's the big one is right now it's kind of a little early to tell, I'd say. I think it's about once we get into training camp and seeing how everything fits.
Well, so last year it was very exciting how you're using Danny Vitale and the fullback, from a target to blocking to running, and then the injury. So are there a lot of things that you left on the table, or did Aaron Jones pick up in that area? I mean, those things you still like to incorporate in this offense in the next year?
Yeah, I think you always want all those guys to you want guys that you can put in different spots. I think that's what you're always looking for. You want the flexibility to be able to line people up all over the place. I think that's something that you're always striving for, because it makes a defense have to adjust and do different things, and not worry about just, hey, when you're in this personnel grouping or you're doing this is what you have to defend. So I think when you have somebody that can do different things, I think that's a powerful aspect to have in your system. And so I think how much we can do and what we can do is really yet to be seen. I think there's a chance we have a couple guys that I think are going to be able to do a lot of different things. I mean, that's always big. So how much we left out there, I mean, I think, every week you just want to do what you think is the best for our team versus that defense. I mean, you always have to first think about the matchups and the people that you're going against, and you have to protect against that, and then see, where your advantages go. I mean, this is a huge chess match. So it's about, having people that can be flexible and then utilizing the flexibility in the proper way, not just doing it to do it, but to use it the right way. So I think that's something that as we get to know, some of these new guys that are coming onto our team, the more we'll be able to place them in the right spot.